knocked loose. White dive on it.
This is twice now the Celtics have been first to the floor. They try to save with Horford. Unbelievable.
Boston first to the floor. So good. Brown fakes, fires up the three. Tatum dives on the floor. Everybody dives. Jaylen Brown with the flush. Blocked by Porzingis. He's doing it all. Tatum spinning, driving, layup. Washington drive. Blocked by White. Oh, what a block from Derrick White.
Ben Vallis here with First to the Floor. Thank you for joining us. Hope you're doing well. Controversy here early in Team USA's basketball Olympic campaign, who defeated Serbia handily in the end, but not without banishing Jayson Tatum, who was brutally DNP'd by Steve Kerr. Jake Eisenberg, with a new look, is back after a quick sabbatical in Bali to talk all about it. Jake, looking good, my man. How we doing?
Thank you. The transformation into Derrick White I've reached my final form. And we're here. I was Spurs Derrick White previously, and now I'm 2024 Celtics champion Derrick White. Transformation.
I love it.
Complete. Yeah.
So you're just about to enter your physical and athletic prime. If
That's
you
right.
Track along with Derrick White there. Love to see it. No, looking good, man.
Thank you.
Now, lots to get into, unnaturally, unorganically so at this point in the offseason. You typically wouldn't expect these big dramatic storylines to emerge, especially like so closely latched to the Boston Celtics. But here we are. Let's just start really broad here. Obviously, I led with it there, that Steve Kerr DNP, NBA champion and All-NBA first teamer Jayson Tatum. Starting broad, just general feelings, Jake, about this whole situation.
2 weeks off the internet mostly, checking in here and there, but really chance to reset, surf, drink some beers, shave my head, just a full soul cleanse. First day back into the NBA world or basketball world. The game is on at 1 a.m. Australia time, so get up, don't look at the score, watch the replay, and watching the game, I'm just like, okay, we're in the second quarter here. Tatum does not look like he's going to play. Like he does, he also looks pretty subdued on the bench as well. Yeah. And it became very clear after the first half that he wasn't going to play at all. And then the rage started to build. The rage was already building early, watching Embiid getting the starting nod and Tatum not being playing while Devin Booker starts at the small forward position. And then you go online, and I'm like, wow, this is my first day back into the NBA world. And in the Discord, I was like, man, I thought it would just be a normal day back online. And Troy in the chat actually was like, Jake, you've been gone for too long. Because maybe he's right. That was just another normal day online as a Celtics fan. Was a day filled with hate for Jayson Tatum. But man, I probably am higher on the disrespect bullshit scale spectrum because there's some people that don't really care. I know you're happy he's resting. I'm infuriated that they're doing this to my boy. Look what they've done to my boy.
Yeah, I feel like I'm close to one of the only people who doesn't really care that much. Like, someone had to be DNP'd, and, like, does it really
Not
matter?
true.
Well, I mean, functionally, it makes more sense from a functional lineup perspective, from putting together, like, a 10-man-ish rotation. We see they get even shorter in, like, NBA playoff rotations. Functionally, I think it makes sense to limit the rotation from a chemistry standpoint. And, like, did it really matter in this game that it was Booker instead of Tatum? It could have been you or I instead of Tatum, Jake. And
that's my point.
Still would have blown out Serbia. And, like, Tatum, he's just played heavy, deep playoff rotation, playoff run minutes for, the third year in a row. Imagine if KP was playing for Latvia. Imagine if he was healthy and it emerged before the game. They're going to rest KP. We'd be like, that's fucking amazing. So, like, I kind of...
They're not the same.
I know they're not the same, but, like... It's good that his injury risk, his long-term injury and tiredness risk is minimized. I understand the disrespect element. He's Jayson Tatum. He just won the NBA Finals. He's a champion. He has to play. Like, he just got benched basically in favor of Kevin Durant and LeBron James, who are both incredible, by the way. It seems like there's this entitlement among fans, especially Celtics fans, that he has to play because of his recent NBA success. And Kerr knows that he can go to Jayson Tatum if he needs a larger, more lockdown, versatile defender. In this game, in theory, you did need Embiid, again, in theory, for that Jokic matchup. I do think we'll see a bit more Tatum, a little less Embiid in the future. And while I would personally take Jayson Tatum over Devin Booker, I think ultimately it doesn't matter, at least not in the Serbia matchup, Jake.
No, basketball-wise, it doesn't matter at all.
Mm-hmm.
But we're not talking about basketball here. We're talking about disrespect. We're talking about politics. We're talking about conspiracies, which we're going to get to shortly. It's not about the basketball. This team, I was so confident was going to win gold no matter what. Like in the exhibition games, yeah, there were some close calls. Obviously, they go tight against South Sudan, but I think of that it's literally preseason versus playoffs. That's what the exhibition versus the Olympics is like. Like there is not, there's no regular season in the Olympics. It's like you're straight into the playoffs, and the exhibition games are really more like preseason. So like the level of competition in the preseason exhibition games, I knew was not an indication of how things were going to go once they got to the Olympics. Defensive intensity being king among those things. Serbia, in theory, I think probably has the best chance of anyone to beat Team USA because of Jokic, because he's by far the best player that they're going to face, and it just doesn't really matter. Even Canada, which we can maybe get to later, like they just don't have the big men rotation. So like that's the point, is that they can play anyone and they're going to win the gold medal. And so who is most important to Team USA? It should be, after Kevin Durant, it should be Jayson Tatum. Like, I understand, obviously, LeBron and Steph are going to be the guys that can play. Like, obvious. Jayson Tatum was the second leading scorer in the Olympics in Tokyo.
Sure.
In an instance where, and Devin Booker played as well in that Olympics. Jayson Tatum played in the FIBA World Cup before that as well. He's been a staple of Team USA for years now. And for him to be the guy that's the odd one out is insane disrespect. And I really wonder if, because he's the guy that's not going to complain, that became the easy choice. If he was to bench Anthony Edwards, you're going to hear about it. Anthony Edwards is going to do an interview about it. Jayson Tatum is the perfect guy to marginalize, because he probably doesn't really care that much. Yeah, I know. Actually, I know. I'm guessing he's pretty fucking pissed off.
Yeah, I would say internally pissed off. I'm sure that he's shared with his inner circle, and like just his like facial expressions or lack thereof on the bench. You can sort of get the impression that he was at least like, this feels weird to be sitting on the bench. Like even if that was his baseline, anger, if you want to call it that, that was like sort of not atypical of what we expect from Tatum, who's normally like this amazing vibes guy on the bench. But yeah, I think there's some degree of correctness there, where he's like a victim to this nice guys finish last approach from Steve Kerr. It's like, fuck, like these guys are all big ego, big talent guys. Who's gonna, shit the bed the least, emotionally speaking, if we DNP them in this one? It's gonna be Tyrese Halliburton and it's gonna be Jayson Tatum. And like already the reaction after the game, he was like, I feel like an idiot for not playing Jayson Tatum. We had articles all over the place. I've got one here from, is it Joe Varden of The Athletic, saying that, Joe Varden, Jayson Tatum, quote, will play for Team USA versus South Sudan after the Sunday benching. So whether that's matchup related, whether that's crap, like I don't think I can get away with this again from Steve Kerr's perspective. It seems like that will be rectified to some degree, Jake.
And that's the thing, is like they should have known this is coming. And so to like, subject Tatum to the online shitstorm that was very obviously going to come by benching Jayson Tatum, that's where I get really, like, you didn't need to play him 20 minutes. There's 10 minutes. Devin Booker played 26 minutes. Mm-hmm. Like, Jayson Tatum could have easily found 10. I was coming into the Olympics, I was like, I want Jayson Tatum to play a small role. 10 minutes, 12 minutes a night. That's still rest. Like, Jayson Tatum playing 10, 12 minutes a night is still rest. But now you subject him to the online trolling. That's obviously going to be there. But like actual smart people and like it becoming a legit national story. This is the only sport happening in the US right now is the Olympics, and the only like hockey, NFL. I mean, they're playing hockey as well. I don't know. Hockey's in the Winter Olympics, isn't it? So like of the major sports,
field hockey.
Of the US major, which we will get to, of the US major sports happening at the Olympics, basketball is the only one.
Yeah,
there's no baseball, I don't think, anymore either. And so
the Red Sox are playing right now.
Yeah, right. So like this is going to be the story. This is going to lead a ton of shows. And so you would subject Tatum to this when you should know exactly what's coming. That's what pisses me off the most. Is like, and we can say these guys don't care, these guys don't hear it. They have admitted many times, whether it's like directly or reading between the lines, Jaylen Brown, Jayson Tatum both see and hear all of the online hate. And so to subject him to that purposefully, or like to not see it coming, is even more embarrassing, in my opinion. When there's a guy of this stature, it makes me really annoyed that they've done this to my boy, dude.
Yeah, it sucks like that. It's our guy, but like in terms of online hate and vitriol and negative energy, like the worst instance of that would be Team USA losing or even like struggling in any game really on their way to what feels like an inevitable gold medal. And so from Steve Kerr's perspective, from a coaching and lineup management perspective, are you thinking, okay, fuck, I've got to play Jayson Tatum to appease the Celtics fans and to stop the online hate from opposing fans, or do I need to focus on like the most winningest version of basketball possible, even if sacrifices have to be made so that the ultimate failure doesn't occur, which is not winning the gold medal?
Sure, but are you saying then? So that just means
Steve Kerr. Okay,
so you're okay. So that essentially is something else I wanted to say. Steve Kerr is just an awful coach then, because I actually agree that he's just trying to win. And so if he thinks that the best way to win is by not playing Jayson Tatum, who was the best player in the NBA that's on the Team USA team right now. Like, he was the best player in the NBA out of everybody on the USA roster. He's the most versatile player on the USA roster. He's a 6'10" guy that can play point guard or center. And to not be able to find a role for him, not just like so he's appeased, but to not be able to find a role for him that helps your team, that's just flat out coaching malpractice and embarrassing.
I agree. Counterpoint, and we can keep going down this counterpoint
please,
rabbit hole.
all day long.
Counterpoint, the very popular one to that is like from a Olympic basketball tenure standpoint, guys like Steph Curry, LeBron James, Kevin Durant, very most likely their last Olympic appearance ever. And so you do need to prioritize those guys. And therefore, Jayson Tatum has more of a long-term outlook as far as his place on the Olympic team. So that's one argument. But then already the counter to that is like, well, is JT even going to want to come back after this?
Yes. The other counter to that is, and another argument you can make against JT is, I guess, if you like, I don't buy into this, but like he didn't play awesome in the exhibition games.
Yes.
Again,
can't shoot.
Preseason. Yes, cannot shoot. Hasn't been able to shoot apparently. But a better catch and shoot 3-point shooter than Devin Booker historically. But didn't play awesome in the exhibition games. But again, preseason versus playoffs, very different basketball. And the counter to all of that is Joel Embiid is fucking starting. Yeah. And he hasn't played a second for Team USA in his entire life. He's starting. And every time we watch this team play so far, it's very obvious that the team functions way better with Embiid off the court. And so they start him again. And I guess in this matchup, we want him for Jokic. Fine. But it was clear even before this, if they were playing Sudan, Puerto Rico, Embiid was going to be starting. He's going to be starting, I think, probably... unless it gets really bad and we get to like the medal rounds and the knockout stuff, and it's like, then we're going to really see, because Embiid and frenemy, I'm going to call him, of the podcast, Ben Golliver here, USA basketball beat Serbia 110-84 in Olympic opener, with Joel Embiid a -8 in 11 minutes and 21 seconds, without Joel Embiid a plus 34 in 28 minutes and 39 seconds. Like, if you want to make the argument that Tatum can't be out there for a fit or whatever, then why is Joel Embiid playing, a guy that hasn't played a second for Team USA? Someone in the comments, pointing out that Tatum's been with Team USA since he was like 15 years old. Not to mention they're going to need Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brown at the next Olympics and the next two Olympics to marginalize two guys you're going to desperately need without Kevin Durant is not going to be here to save Team USA again. I've got no problem with Kevin Durant, Steph Curry, and LeBron playing a ton of minutes, especially Kevin Durant, who might literally be like the best Team USA Olympic player of all time, just because, like, if I had one wish in this world, could I give Kevin Durant shooting to Jayson Tatum, because then Jayson Tatum would literally be the best player of all time.
Yes, please.
But like the fact that Kevin Durant can be a 50, like just shoot 45% from three or 100% from three, on this team and just stand in the corner and then have guys play make and hit him and be 7 foot tall and shoot like that. No argument against Kevin Durant. He's like one of the best Olympic players in the history of the sport. That's fine. Got problems with pretty much everybody else playing over him except for those guys.
Yeah, I don't know, like from a coaching standpoint, do you think, okay, Kevin Durant like can play off ball and can really subdue his role quite a lot more easily, whereas like Jayson Tatum, the best version of Jayson Tatum is kind of in that like LeBron Team USA role where he kind of needs to be floor general, he kind of needs the ball in his hands to be playmaking, and like I guess it's hard to sort of slice it and look at it from the perspective of Steve Kerr, because like he called himself an idiot after the game, so he acknowledges that there's some level of idiocy about it. But you're trying to think about it from the perspective of coaching. Why the fuck would you do that? And you get into these deep rabbit holes of like, well, is it about how Jayson Tatum is best utilized? And because of how old LeBron James and Kevin Durant are, you might be expecting an injury down the road or a need to rest them down the road. So you're keeping Tatum on ice so he can come in and be more dominant on ball later in the campaign. I don't know.
I appreciate you playing the devil's advocate role here, Ben.
It's hard. I'm really struggling with it because really, you just play fucking Jayson Tatum.
It's not.
Way more
It's
simple.
that's and like not like you don't have to play him much. Like all you needed was 10 minutes for this to be a non-story, and that they were going to win this game anyway. And I maybe because of Kevin Durant coming back late, is like they weren't sure, and then whatever. It's
That's what I
just
don't
so easy.
understand.
Yeah, it's
like,
so easy.
Wouldn't you need
just get him
to?
in there.
Yeah, and like, wouldn't you need to ramp up KD? Like, JT's been around the whole time. He's been playing in all the exhibition games. It would make more sense that it would be KD on ice, but then it goes back to like it's probably his last Olympics. If he can play, get him in there. What did you think of the online vitriol from non-Celtics fans? Because I felt like they were all too keen.
Of course.
First opportunity since the undeniable championship winning from JT and the Celtics. Correct. Finally, the opportunity to pile back on. Did you find yourself getting stuck in with any non-Celtics fans on Twitter?
Well, my tolerance is low now after being away for a couple of weeks, so I found myself really diving into it. And like, look, like you got a couple categories of online reactions. You got the obvious, the trolls and the haters. That's just and that makes up like a vast majority of just like the online posts. And the only thing they really have left right now is like Jayson Tatum is a role player and not a superstar. It's like. That's what's funny about this. It's like, if he is a role player, then this is the perfect guy for Team USA. But like, if we're gonna go like quote unquote smart people on the internet, there was a lot of like, I got Nate Duncan's tweet here. It's not a huge surprise to me that Kerr wouldn't have been as enamored of Tatum's game in this setting. Probably Tatum's biggest weakness is holding the ball, and Kerr hates that in general, and probably even more so on a team with this much talent. It's like. And then on the Greatest of All Talk pod today, they read out my email again, the head of the Celtics propaganda snake. And Ben Golliver pushed back on my idea that Tatum could play any position. And I saw that a lot online. It's like, how did everybody watch the 2024 playoffs and still come out of that with the same talking points from 2022? I don't understand how we've got here. Like, now the whole point of Jayson Tatum, like, despite being an inefficient volume scorer in the playoffs, still proved to be one of the most impactful players in the NBA because of his versatility. That's the takeaway of the playoffs, is he's now a 6'10" guy that can play point guard, can set screens, can roll, and then guard 1 through 5. That's the whole point of Jayson Tatum.
Yeah, we've seen him shut down Shea in the regular season. We've seen him guard Bam
Kyrie.
Adebayo and Kyrie, and really 1 through 5, unless it's the really big fellas like Joel Embiid, who's obviously not a factor, including outside of that, just offensively for Team USA. We've seen him defend everyone at the highest degree and level possible. So yeah, the versatility is like the one undeniable, unquestionable aspect of Tatum's game. Like if the shot's not going down, he'll still be a massive net plus on the court. So, and I think honestly, I'm more worried as a Sixers fan than a Celtics fan at this point. Watching Team USA, we can't control what Steve Kerr and his coaching staff do and how he decides to or not to utilize Jayson Tatum. What is very clear, and to the detriment of the good feelings of Sixers fans, is that Joel Embiid, with ample playing time, looks like ass, which makes me very happy from a Schadenfreude perspective.
Yes,
Sorry, go ahead.
You're right on Joel Embiid. That's the silver lining here. Is it like he's actually playing and looks bad? So it's like, and what's funny to me, it's like, oh, Joel Embiid's bad for the bad for FIBA. It's he can't switch. He's kind of slow. Doesn't make quick decisions. I'm like, that's not a FIBA thing. That's a basketball thing.
Yeah.
That's bad. Those are valuable things in the NBA playoffs. But I was like, this is why he's not good in the playoffs relative to his regular season. I have one more important thing about the conspiracy situation before we move on. But you want to do your little ad read and then we can do the conspiracy?
I mean, let's wrap up the Tatum talk and then we'll get to an ad read and we'll come back and we'll do Derrick and Jrue.
Okay. The only thing I can think of that maybe makes more sense than anything else is that this is a conspiracy to take down the 2024-2025 Boston Celtics.
Yes, here we go.
This, Bill Simmons infamously coined the secret and the disease of more. Or Pat Riley does, the disease of more. And that's how you take down the 2025 Boston Celtics. You sow dissent among the team. And how do you do that? Well, firstly, you don't select Jaylen Brown. That I'm not, so he's already pissed off. But the one that this is the coup de grace, to use some French, because we're talking about the France Olympics 2024.
Well done.
Thank you very much. Which for those who need its translation is a death note, a death nail in any type of context. Jayson Tatum sacrificing his individual success for the greater good, for the greatest team success there is, an NBA championship. Does he now, all the online hate from the playoffs, doesn't win Finals MVP when he should have won at least Eastern Conference Finals MVP and probably Finals MVP. Now he's sacrificing for the greater good of Team USA and they're going to win a gold medal no matter what. And now the online hate gets bigger, more intense. Does he come out now in next season and try and get to 30? It's time for me. I sacrificed last year. I know I've been first team All-NBA. I want to push for MVP. That's the one thing left that's going to silence the haters. And that's just objectively bad for the Boston Celtics.
Yeah, and I think the table is at least set for that. We've seen Jayson Tatum, come up positive against those obstacles at every opportunity so far in his career, but everyone's got their breaking point. At some point, he needs to suffer from that disease of more, you would think, and go out and try and get his. But like I've said, so far, every opportunity he's had to go down the wrong path there, he's gone the right way about it. So, why wouldn't he do that again, I guess? Maybe wishful thinking on my part.
No, I think you're right. I'm also, Joe Mazzulla is just loving all of this.
Yes.
Joe Mazzulla is loving all of this. I think he's crafting the presentation, the philosophy, the mental strategy, talking points for the next season based off of this. He's absolutely loving this. So, I think Tatum will come in and just do the same thing he's always done, be an incredible teammate. That's going to end up being the story of Jayson Tatum's career, is that he's just a winner. And that's what it's going to be.
Yeah, I think relearning to shoot would be a huge aspect, which we keep touching on. But at some point, right, Jake, it's going to come back, and maybe all this time sitting on the bench, having time to think about it, might be helpful, if nothing else.
Yeah, plenty of time to get shots up. You think extra energy, get the shooting. I do want to get Sam Esfandiari on the podcast, Light Years Pod. Wanted to talk about the Warriors and this Steve Kerr stuff maybe after the Olympics.
That'd be great.
But I know Steph Curry's gone into some of his own pretty extended shooting slumps himself. So to get some insight from the Warriors fans on shooting slumps from the best shooter of all time, I think could be valuable to us who have just had again, it's actually not even that big of a shooting slump. It was
sure.
What did they go in the playoffs? 16-3, 19-game shooting slump is pretty small. I've almost just made myself feel better about it just by saying that. So
well, yeah, and unlike Curry, it goes back to the diversity we've talked about. So many ways that he can impact the game beyond his shooting. So in a lot of ways, it doesn't really matter. But it's tough to repeat. So the shooting coming back in year 2 of this run would be incredible. We're going to come back in a minute and talk about 2 other Boston Celtics, Derrick White and Jrue Holiday. But first, a quick word from our friends over at Prize Picks, Jake.
PrizePicks is America's #1 daily fantasy sports app with over 5 million active members. PrizePicks is the easiest and most exciting way to play daily fantasy sports. Unlike other apps, on PrizePicks, it's just you against the numbers. All you do is pick more or less on 2 to 6 player stat projections and watch the winnings roll in. You can now win up to 100 times your money on PrizePicks with as little as 4 correct picks. If you're looking for promotions, PrizePicks has got you covered every week. From lowering select players' stat projections on Tuesday to help your lineup hit, or getting free entry fees back if you have a losing lineup on Fridays. With the finals over, the hoops action doesn't stop on PrizePicks. Women's basketball is still heating up with stars like Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese looking to make names for themselves alongside greats like Brianna Stewart and AJ Wilson. You can win up to 100 times your cash watching the ladies ball out. Taking less on Jayson Tatum everything would have been a very smart move for the Serbia game. I made my $10 deposit and received an instant $10 bonus. If you have the skills, you can play for a shot of turning your $10 into $1,000. Download the PrizePicks app today and use code CLNS for a first deposit match up to $100. That's code CLNS on PrizePicks for a first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It's that easy.
Shout out PrizePicks. Shout out to the CLNS Network for presenting the First to the Floor podcast. Derrick White and Jrue Holiday. Jake, it's so much simpler with these guys because like Team USA just needs them to be basically who they are on an NBA floor, which is connective tissue, setting guys up, cutting off ball, cutting into space, like making themselves available as a passing option. Like in the playoffs, in the finals, for example, we saw Jrue Holiday like get better and better at that of sort of like relieving Jayson Tatum if he got caught being like doubled under the rim. And now Jrue Holiday is doing that at the highest level to guys like LeBron James. And you can see the relief on like LeBron's face where he's just like, fuck, Jrue Holiday's here. I've been playing with these Laker bums for years now. And now I've got someone with the basketball acumen of Jrue Holiday and Derrick White to just like solve problems for me on the fly. It's incredible to watch. So I don't know, like it's nothing really different from these two. It's just them being their best Celtics versions of themselves, but on this Olympic stage for everyone else to sort of feast their eyes over for a change instead of just us Celtics fans.
They're incredible, man. It was and like that's that. It was like this massive contrast. It's like, oh my god, it's so good to see Jrue Holiday and Derrick White doing Jrue Holiday and Derrick White things. Like the one highlight, I was torn. The one highlight of Joel Embiid's game was he had this pass to Jrue Holiday, this nice pass to Jrue Holiday in the lane, which led to Jrue Holiday finding LeBron James on the cut for a dunk. And the reason that play happened was because Jrue Holiday is an incredible cutter and finding open space and made himself available for Joel Embiid to find a pass because Joel Embiid had gotten himself into trouble, as he always does. And so we had that. We had the Jrue Holiday step back three in the corner. We had Derrick White chase down blocks. We had Derrick White initiating and creating in the pick and roll, hitting a Derrick White floater. It was all the hits from the Celtics, and it had me and my dad looking at salary cap stuff yesterday, being like, how do we keep these two guys? It's like, okay, 26, 27, can we get below the tax with these guys, with all four of those guys? Are you allowed to restructure deals after the second year of Jrue Holiday's deal to get the numbers down a little bit? That's how good it was to see those guys doing that, and then to be fantasizing about having those four guys on the Boston Celtics for next season, and hopefully seasons after that. And are the Celtics going to be paying the tax? Are they going to be doing these things? Because please pay the tax and please keep Jrue Holiday and Derrick White on this team. But Derrick White was maybe the bigger takeaway for me, just because it almost like even like one of the highlight reels they showed from like Team USA practice, Derrick White like scored the most points in like a 2-minute video, which obviously means nothing. But like no matter where he goes, he just like becomes this beloved player. Spurs, Celtics, Team USA, he just finds a way to do everything at an elite level. Like the type of player that he's turned into, again, had me fantasizing no matter what happens. The Jays plus Derrick White, and this version of Derrick White is just, it's a title contender no matter which way you slice it.
Yeah, T in the chat, the International Stock Exchange.
Yeah.
Derrick White and Jrue Holiday, both of them, like they're just so universally compatible. And obviously we saw it all year with just them filling in all the gaps left by the Jays. Like anything that the Jays need us to do, we're here to do it. And then just doing that again on this international scale with like top tier NBA players. It's just so satisfying to see stuff that we have known all along. And I guess to see it applied elsewhere under a lesser coached roster in Steve Kerr's case, I might say. And yet to see it be executed and just as effective as we've known it to be all year. There's just nothing more satisfying, I think, other than watching the Boomers win, which we'll get to in a little bit. But really, I don't think there's really much else to say on Derrick and Jrue because it's just more of the same from them on another platform. I think it's fair to say after watching how compatible and applicable their version of basketball has been with Team USA, like it is at least somewhat validating to then go back to the Tatum thing and be like, well, the case for Tatum, the assignment for Tatum, it's clearly a lot more complicated as far as how he can apply his skill set and talents to Team USA versus Derrick and Jrue, who again can just be the best version of themselves, the current existing version of themselves with this team, Jake.
Yeah, dude, and like just these guys are going to be the reason that, similar to the Celtics, in that you elevate to this whole new level. The way that Jrue Holiday elevated the Celtics from like probably being the best team to being like easily the best team and an historically dominant team. Like if you were to yes, Jrue Holiday and Derrick White in a vacuum, if you're doing a player ranking list, are not going to be top 15, top 20. No. Derrick White, I'm just going to stop there. I mean, there's no putting a ceiling
Keep going.
on what this guy can do. But like, sure, Halliburton, he made All-NBA. Jalen Brunson, second team All-NBA. We can kind of go down the list. Donovan Mitchell, down the list of guys that are guards that you would rank in a vacuum ahead of Derrick and Jrue in the NBA. But the way that they fit on this team and what you need in a winning basketball team is, and you look at the Olympics, like every Olympic team, like as an Australian, not looking forward to Jrue Holiday and Derrick White dealing with Patty Mills. That's going to be and Delhi. Yeah, it's going to be a problem. And if it had been Brunson and if Halliburton was playing more Donovan Mitchell, like go down the list, and like it's a way different proposition. Like than these guys who are that's the thing. They're not taking anything off the table. That's why they're so freaking good, and why the Celtics are so freaking good. They're two-way monsters. Like they can initiate, they can catch and shoot, and then obviously the defensive side of the ball. So they elevated this team. That's why I didn't even mention those guys as players that Tatum should play ahead of, because like they kind of need yeah. But at the same time, they don't have to play, because I think the talent disparity of this Team USA team is becoming pretty evident to me through watching like the first round of pool games. I'm like, oh yeah, it's nice to talk about the rest of the world catching up to Team USA, but not this team.
Yeah, it's so fun to watch. Obviously, the
awesome.
bummer element of Tatum not playing, and the question like sort of looming in one's mind if you were watching the game live of like, is Tatum going to play here? But like beyond that, just watching Team USA and their top to bottom talent, and just like how much they basically like Serbia had some good stretches of this game and some good shooting, and Jokic playing with that all Serbian roster was fun in parts, but it just felt like Team USA were just waiting to put their foot down on the pedal and run away with it, which they did. And just, I don't know, seeing LeBron James play point forward with all of those tools at his disposal, and we can say this without Spoonie on the pod, who's a notable LeBron hater, and I'm sure would have some sort of detrimental comment, anti-LeBron comment to come back at me with, which is fair enough. But watching LeBron operate at that level with those tools at his disposal was a lot of fun as well. Any other thoughts on Team USA? We're gonna come back in a minute after another ad read and do an Olympic basketball check-in, looking at some other nations and some other sports, maybe, Jake. But anything else on Team USA?
No, I just remembered as I was saying that, like the USA did shoot like 70% from three in the first half, while the Serbia like couldn't hit a shot. And I was like, there's a universe out there where Kevin Durant doesn't go 5 for 5, and maybe he goes like 1 for 5, and there's the US, because they started like down 10-2. Mostly because of Joel Embiid, but like if the USA doesn't go scorched earth from three, does the game look different? And maybe I'm like, we feel a little bit different, but that's what happens.
Eric Spoelstra's on the bench, right? Bringing a little of that devil
true.
magic with him.
Oh, disgusting.
Now, before we get to our ad read, we've got Mo Sneff in the chat. A couple of comments coming through in the chat about Jake. First of all, if you're listening to the audio podcast and you're not watching on YouTube, Jake has come back with the Derrick White. He's come home approach.
Right.
So the hair's been buzzed, and we've got, obviously we talk about Derrick White's beautiful chrome dome. Now we've got our very own beautiful chrome dome on the show. Jake, you've just been in Bali for a couple of weeks, kind of simmering down after Vegas, simmering down after a long season covering the Celtics. Is there an origin story? Was there a moment where you were just like, all right, fuck it, bring me the Clippers, I'm cutting this thing off?
Well, look, the hair has been slowly moving back as I age here. There's my dad has zero hair. My grandfather has zero hair. There is on the mum's side. So like this was happening, and I hadn't quite gotten to Derrick White levels. And this is for anyone out there, going through the same thing, because there's plenty of us out there. But it was coming at some point that I was going to need to step through into the next realm. And I had almost done it a couple of times, but I was in Bali. One of my best friends from there has like the Clippers. We had a few beers, and I was like, look, this is as good a time as any, man. We're in Bali, couple of beers. We're surfing every day. Get the skin to, become the same color as the rest of the skin, and
even out.
Yeah. And then like where my friend was staying, like the host had like these 3 like newborn puppies. So I had a support dog on my lap as I had my head shaved.
Awesome.
In this beautiful villa with the lights. It was and a couple of bintangs. So it was something that needed to happen. It's funny, like Ryan Russillo had Kelly Slater on his podcast one time. And they had a bald guy discussion. Maybe this is our chance to get Derrick White on the pod now, like through the bald angle. Richard White, if you're talking, I think this is the time to set it up.
Yes.
But Kelly Slater essentially said, like, every man that's losing their hair at some point is going to need to step through their holding on a little bit too long phase, and you complete your soul as you enter the next dimension. And so that's a wrap. Who knows? It's kind of growing back faster than I thought, and so like I don't know, I could just kind of bring it back a little bit, but for now feels good. It's I keep getting into the shower and thinking like, man, it's been a while since I've washed my hair, and then realizing like that's because there is no hair left. But yeah, so we're going. Hopefully, I now like Derrick White was really good for the Spurs, but Celtics bowled Derrick White became like a fringe all-star. So hopefully, I now become a fringe all-star in life. That's the idea.
Even MJ, when he finally buzzed it up, obviously,
Exactly.
He took it up another level. LeBron, though, didn't go that way. Instead, went for the $1 billion hair plugs, which is...
Yeah.
I thought there was a big risk of them maybe coming into some level of danger, leading the charge there on the boat there during the opening ceremony, where the rain was coming down hard. But they held up. So obviously, it was a good investment from LeBron's perspective there. All right, we're going to come back in a minute and zoom out with a broader discussion on the Olympics. But first, here's a quick word from our friends over at Game Time. First of the Floor is brought to you by Game Time. I absolutely love going to MLB games when I'm in the US for the summer. One of my favorite sports memories is going to a Red Sox game while on my honeymoon in Boston on Patriots Day. It was just a quintessential Boston outing. And when I head back next time, I'll be using the Game Time app to grab our tickets. Game Time is an authorized ticket marketplace of Major League Baseball, which makes getting tickets faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. We just bought all of our Vegas Summer League tickets very easily using the Game Time app, and you can take advantage of all the great Game Time features such as those last-minute tickets, flash deals, and zone deals. Easy to find and buy MLB tickets or for every kind of event in your area. Plus, lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, job loss protection, and more. There's legitimately so many amazing features that keeps bringing me back to the Game Time app, including the aforementioned last-minute deals. You can hang out outside the arena and snap up a last-minute deal on your seats. You can preview views from all the seats in the venue, and of course, Game Time's lowest price guarantee, event cancellation protection, etc. So, take the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app today, create an account, and use code CLNS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CLNS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Now, Jake, some other teams have been playing in the Olympic basketball competition, including our Aussies, the Aussie Boomers, led by Patty Mills with some clutch rebounding, some clutch shooting. Josh Giddey, who, despite his reputation prior to these Olympics and trade activity in the NBA, was nothing short of incredible, really, as a leader for this Olympic Boomer squad. What was your take on game one of the Olympic campaign for the Boomers?
It was awesome. So, like, I wasn't able to watch it live. I was, like, in the airport in Bali, and but I was following along, and I watched the replay when I got home. They looked good, man. They're, like, this is the difference between, like, Team USA and a bunch of these other, like, teams is, like, the chemistry is the thing that makes these teams really good. And, like, the Boomers clearly, despite having, a few new players relative to the last Olympics, Giddey running the show a lot of the time, Dyson Daniels playing really well. I was impressed. Obviously, Spain, not one of the better teams in the Olympics, but this is a knockout tournament. Like, talent-wise, Australia is kind of, like, not there relative to maybe, like, Canada, but at the same time, like, it's one game, and so all you need to do is kind of just play well. Greece almost took down Canada, but I was really impressed by the Aussies, their cohesiveness. I like, as an Australian, like, seeing Josh Giddey play well, like, when he had such a shit time Self-inflicted wounds, obviously, at times there. But to see the Aussies kind of turn it around from their performance in the World Cup, like this was the best game they played since last Olympics that I've seen. And so that was a really good start.
Yeah, and to see some like previous Boomer heroes like Joe Ingles, for example, take a back seat on the bench, and I don't know if Joe Ingles played at all or if he did. He
Tiny
barely
bit
played in this one. But to see, he's cheering on sort of the newer crop of Boomer players, and then like Jock Landale, who he's going to come up with some literally more like sizable challenges as the tournament progresses. But in this particular matchup, he didn't really face those challenges. He was nothing short of dominant in his role. And, all these roles compared to that of an NBA role are diminished because there's like, more guys on the roster and there's shorter playing time overall with only 10-minute quarters. Jock Landale was incredible. Nick Kay as sort of this Olympic stretch four, I think was incredible as well. And Jayson Daniels, like hitting his threes consistently. It's like, okay. And there is some degree of like guys play above their normal NBA level for this Boomers squad. I think you do see that across most of the international Olympic squads as well. We saw it with Serbia in stretches of that game yesterday against Team USA. Any idea why Dante Exum didn't play in this one, Jake? Is he injured or just DNP'd?
He had a dislocated finger.
Ah, shit. Okay.
Yes. So, watching the replay, I was able to like lock in and got that information. But so that's why he didn't play. But yeah, dude, I would warn Hawks fans, Matisse Thybulle hit a lot of his threes in the Tokyo Olympics. So when it comes to Jayson Daniels hitting his threes, look, the shot looks okay to me. Yeah. I think he has a far higher offensive ceiling than Matisse Thybulle, but he hasn't really shown that kind of until that Spain game. But yeah, I think they've got, and like Josh Green, he can hit some threes as well. They've got a bunch of kind of like, in theory, two-way-ish wings, and then Patty Mills kind of running the show, hitting some clutch buckets. Like it's just awesome to see the green and the gold back out there. And Patty Mills has coined this journey, just like kind of searching for the vibe, hunting for the vibe, and they found it in game one. Next game tonight against Canada, 9:30 Aussie time. I saw Aussie Phil in the chat talking about playback. We will be doing playback or I will be doing playback at least for some of the Olympic games. Not tonight, just because I'm still not home yet at my parents' house, so I'll be watching it with them. But definitely, as we get into the knockout rounds for sure, and even some of the other games later on. But yeah, definitely get on the playback for some of those games.
Yeah, and I'm excited for this Australia-Canada matchup tonight. I talked about how the name is somehow escaping me. Jock Landale, apologies, is going to come up with some more sizable bigs as the tournament progresses, but he's not necessarily going to see that against Canada tonight, where it's like
Kelly
Dwight Powell, Kelly Olynyk, Kem Birch, like not the biggest of big men in that matchup. So I think hopefully Jock can cook a little bit in this game. And Patty Mills, in that first game, it's clear the opposition defense was just like, no matter what we do, we're not going to let Patty Mills get the best of us. And other people like Jayson Daniels, if they get open, let's let them shoot. And unfortunately, that strategy did not go well for them. But hopefully Patty Mills can kind of have a little bit more freedom in this game and cook a little bit more against Canada. But a lot of NBA talent on that Canada roster. It's going to be a challenge, but I'm excited. I think the Boobers are going to step up.
Yeah, so I looked at the odds. I think that like the I almost called them the Celtics. I've moved into us and we when it comes to the Boomers. They were like I think plus 200 or so underdogs or something like that. So like underdogs, but not like the line's closer than most of the Dallas Celtics games. If that gives you any indication, it actually might make you feel worse because the Celtics kicked the shit out of them and lived up to those odds. But I think they've got a shot to beat Canada for sure. You saw what Greece and Giannis did against Canada. Obviously, the Boomers don't have a Giannis, but they have a much higher overall talent level than Canada. And Canada doesn't have the chemistry of the Boomers. Like this is the team that's been put together over the last year or two. They don't have like multiple Olympics together and like multiple training camps like FIBA World Cup. So I definitely think that they have a chemistry advantage, and it's one game. It's like, can you like who's our primary guy on Shea? It's probably Dyson, I think. If I'm choosing someone to throw on Shea, because he went kind of a lot of 1-on-1 against Greece, And I think like if Gorge, can set up the game plan, a little, Luka Doncic Mavs finals game plan, like just, maybe switch everything, shut down the rest of the team. Can't switch everything with Patty Mills probably. But, helping off Dylan Brooks, helping off some of their lesser shooters. I know Jamal Murray's on this team too. Did he play in the first game? I wasn't able to actually watch.
He did. He was like their backup point guard.
Oh, yeah.
Basically the sixth man.
That's pretty wild. So, like, obviously, he can be quite good as well. But I'm not nearly as scared of Jamal Murray. Like, I don't think, he's not even an all-star.
I think you can stick Patty on him as well because there's less of a size disparity there. I also wonder, like, do you throw, this is getting a little crazy here, but Josh Giddey on Shea, a little bit of that sort of institutional OKC knowledge? I mean, it's kind of slim pickings, right? So you have to make a choice at some point.
Dyson, Josh Green are your two guys probably that you're trying to put on Shea. But he's going to
keep Joe Ingles away from him. Please, God.
Thankfully, Joe Ingles is not is being kept away mostly from the court in general, despite. But he does do his classic Joe Ingles stuff, going up, shit talking with the refs, getting the vibes going.
Yeah.
Aussie Phil, I can't agree with you. I'm not a Matisse Thybulle guy. I don't think he needs to be there when they like really need offense. But they. Oh, I forgot to mention Jack McVeigh. Jack Jumper's legend was awesome again. Dude, this guy's got a crazy story, man. Like, wasn't supposed to make the NBL. Next thing you know, he's like one of the best players in the NBL. Was never supposed to be anywhere near a Boomers team. Makes the Boomers team, and he's like one of the most important players on the team. He's like a classic dribble pass shoot. He's like an elite shooter. Hero in, I think it was a game 2 of the NBL Finals. He hits the like half court buzzer beater to steal a W. And now he's got a 2-way contract for the Houston Rockets. Like every step of the way, he just keeps exceeding expectations, and he was awesome in the Spain game. So they're gonna need his shooting. Like he's got a quick trigger, very confident. He's got to like settle down defensively. He gave up 2 3-point fouls in the last game, so just be a little bit more disciplined on that end. Little, first game jitters. It's all right. But yeah, settle down. But that's a very exciting game.
Well, yeah, and just a legit floor spacer, which is sort of few and far between from the Boomers' perspective and many of these Olympic rosters, to be honest.
They need the shooting so badly.
Yeah, absolutely. The Boomers. So very, very welcome skill set. Do you think any of these other international squads can beat Team USA? Is anyone at any chance at all, even like France?
I don't think so. I watched... I had to stay at the airport hotel in Bali because I wasn't able to get on a flight, and I watched the France-Brazil game. Just so I was like, okay, this is a stressful airport experience, but at least come back, and now I get to watch my first Olympic game. And Wemby, man, I like really wanted to be the Wemby skeptic. I know. I think my call was like he'll never be as good as Shea is. And Shea even went up to like probably going to win an MVP, and I'm like, dude, this Wemby guy is going to be so fucking good, man.
Yes.
And so watching that, like obviously Brazil's like, sorry to Tice in the chat here, but Brazil's not awesome, but Wemby was just doing some of the most insane shit, and that's awesome. But like the rest of their team, they're relying so heavily on Nick Batum and Evan Fournier. Like they like really don't have the wings and the guards like to hang with Team USA.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think I agree. I think there's just, no matter how you slice it, Team USA are just way too talented. I think about like the other Olympic athletes in the village who some of them like don't get paid at all, have other full-time jobs outside of their sport, and you'd just be walking around the Olympic village, be like, there's fucking LeBron James. There's Kevin Durant.
Good luck.
How lucky am I? This is amazing. And already we've seen like photos of like so a lot of the skateboarding athletes, for example, are like 14 years old and they're taking like fangirl photos with LeBron, Devin Booker and stuff, which is awesome.
Yeah, shout out to I forgot her name, the Aussie girl who's 14.
Chloe, someone. Yeah, she didn't medal in the end, but she had an awesome run.
Yeah, she came 6th, I think, which is just so insane. Yeah, dude, she's like walking around chatting to LeBron James, pretty awesome. Yeah, Germany's a good shout, Troy. They obviously beat Team USA in the FIBA final. Very different talent level between that USA team and this USA team, but yeah, Germany does give them trouble at times. But I mean, Team USA has never lost. Feel like when they actually have their A team, like they lost in 2004, and then that's because it was like the Stephon Marbury team, and that's like kind of it. There was another team that lost in like the 70s, and that was like before it was pro. I'm probably
That's
missing one.
The Soviet Union.
Yeah,
Am I getting that wrong?
Yeah, I think that's right. And
It was
so
30 for 30 on that.
But yeah, when Team USA sends their A team, they don't lose, and it's technically possible. But like I'm gonna be just so stunned, shocked, shunned if they don't get it done. But the rest of these teams, like it's just so much fun. Like the games are like similar to Summer League, and it's like more like basketball as opposed to like we're playing this for money. There's like the games are faster, the timeouts are shorter, the referees are better and don't reward flopping. Like it's like a more of a pure hoops experience, which is awesome.
Dude, the Olympics are so much fun. I'm so glad we have this US summer, this Aussie winter to help bridge this gap. And it's not free of Celtics drama, as we led the podcast with. But we're definitely going to keep one foot in the door on Olympic coverage, just out of total boredom and just broader sports interest. We'll take a look at the as we try and
here we go
into Olympics coverage here, Jake. The medal tally, the Aussies 4th. Don't see the USA.
No,
Jake.
We're technically tied second in gold medals here. So
okay, yes. Thank you for clarifying.
Yeah, weird. Someone whoever made this screenshot cut the list off at 5, and the USA didn't make the top 5. I believe that they are 6th currently. They are. It is interesting how they do the tally. Like it's gold medals as opposed to total medals. USA I think is leading easily by total medals, but Australia always awesome early in the Olympics. Thank you to the swimming. And this is really the main reason I wanted to bring up the Olympics. And we may as well talk about the Olympics. This is what everyone's watching. This is what everyone's talking about.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And
so
we'll be back with another pod later in the week for total Olympic coverage at that point.
Yeah. We got plenty of time for nonsense off-season pods for the month in between the basketball ending and the off-season ending as well. So I've seen some online discourse about why is Australia so good at swimming, because that's the reason we're at the top of this list. Obviously, shout out Jen Fox, I think her name is, Jess Fox, sorry, for being a monster in the kayaking. And then there was a bike ride. My mum's miming me the other gold medalists in the background right now that I'm forgetting.
Get her on the show.
There's a horse rider. There's a horse rider as well. But purely when like the swimmers have been carrying us. That's the point. So that's the question. Why is Australia so good at swimming? Because we're girt by sea, dude. And what does girt by sea mean? I had to look it up again. Surrounded by sea.
There you go.
And we just have an insane swimming culture. Like when, the USA is practicing how to like avoid people coming into their schools with weapons. Australia's are at swim teams. Yeah, we're dodging shots, and we're literally at swim school lessons. Like we like at every school is like going to swimming class from like age 7, and so there's just a massive focus on swimming in this country because we're surrounded by dangerous animals and dangerous water conditions, and so that's kind of the answer.
Yeah, I'm a city boy, but I can backstroke out of a rip in the ocean.
Exactly, dude.
Now, look, there are one Aussie story, speaking of the Aussies in the Olympics. This gentleman here, if I can bring up this article, Australian hockey star amputates finger to play at the Olympics. So basically,
this is so insane.
Matt Dawson broke his finger. I'm not going to read this verbatim. I'll just give you the gist of it. Basically, and the recovery time for his broken finger was going to be like 6 weeks. And the Olympics at that point started in just 16 days. So in order to remain an Olympian, in order to remain in the Olympic squad, he said, fuck it. Cut off my fucking finger, amputate it, and I'll continue to play in the hockey. And that's exactly what he did. And as far as I can tell, the Aussies are still in it to win it.
Thank God.
In the field hockey. This guy cut off his finger to remain an Olympian, Jake. Absolutely incredible.
Dude. I saw the quotes from like his wife being like, yeah, I trust you to make a good decision here, but like, don't do anything rash.
Yeah.
Neck minute, dude. Literally chopping off my finger. But at the same time, like, I guess, like, if chopping off your finger is going to allow you to play, then this is your lifelong dream to play in the Olympics.
Yeah.
Then, like, what's the point of having fingers if not to sacrifice them to achieve your dreams? I would chop off my finger to have the number one Celtics podcast in the world, probably. So
yeah, kind of more than that, I think.
So if anyone's offering anything that needs any extra appendages that can make this happen, then let us know. We got bodily.
Corrales, if
turn
you
out.
want to divert your listeners over here, I'll cut off.
Yeah.
Whatever it takes. Derek White's cutting off his hair. Jake's
I
cutting
was,
off his hair.
I was like, I can't offer my hair for John, but Ben and Spoonie, I'm sure, would be willing to offer their hair to John for the Locked On audience. So, seems like a fair trade.
Yeah, hashtag different here, hashtag whatever it takes. All right, let's leave it there. That's going to do it for this one. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you to CLNS. Thanks to Prize Picks and Game Time. Thanks to everyone watching live here on YouTube. We'll be back at the end of this week to talk some Olympic basketball. And surely, Jake, surely the basketball world won't tee up another pocket of drama for us to react to.
Surely not.
It really is the greatest show on earth. Jake Eisenberg, love your work, man. Until next time, go Celts.